Hello everybody, Sam Goodman, founder and consultant of the Hop Nerd LLC. We're continuing on our multi-part series exploring the basics of human and organizational performance. Let's dive right in. An email that I get a lot, a phone call that I get a lot, a DM that I get a whole bunch of is, how do we get started with human and organizational performance? And I'm going to give you maybe a bit of unconventional advice, at least coming from a consultant and somebody that owns a consulting company. But step one is not to call a consultant, not to call somebody like me and say, come in and give us this packaged program, because that's where we have to start. Is Hop's not a program? We can't treat it like everything else that we've done in our organizations. We can't roll it out into our work worlds like we've rolled out other safety programs or other improvement strategies. Human and organizational performance focuses on shifting our organizational assumptions. These assumptions that generate the tactics and approaches that we take to safety and practically everything else. If I had to give you one piece of advice, don't approach it like a program. Don't even call it HOP. Don't call it safety differently. You don't have to call them learning teams. You don't have to call it anything. Just start out by embracing those principles and start thinking about things a bit differently. When that next operational upset happens, when that next quality escape occurs, when that next injury happens, and they're gonna happen. When they happen, I want you to pause and think about things a bit differently. Think back on those 5 principles that we've talked about so much in this series so far. Think about how response matters. Embrace this idea that error is normal. Embrace this idea that blame fixes nothing, that context drives behavior, that learning is vital. Look at those events through the lens of those principles and just approach the situation a bit differently. You don't have to put a name on that. You don't have to programize that. You can just start to do things a bit differently within your organization. The same is true for learning teams. Use that approach. Try it on for size. You don't have to call it out as anything within your organization to start doing things just a little bit differently, taking things in a little bit of a different and better direction. So that's how I would encourage you to get started. Think about things differently. Look at them through the lens of those HOP principles. Actively choose to do things a little bit differently. That might not take human and organizational performance from the 20th floor all the way to the basement throughout your organization, but it'll get you started. Trying those things on for size, experimenting, showing that things can be done a bit differently is pretty powerful. As you start thinking about things differently, as you start doing things a bit differently, as you start trying out learning teams, as you start viewing things in your work world through that set of principles, I would love to be a part of your human and organizational performance journey. I offer advisement and consulting. I teach around fundamentals and learning teams, and I do learning team facilitation and so much more. If you do need a little bit of help as you get started on your journey, you can send me an email, thehopnerd@gmail.com, or learn more at thehopnerd.com.